All right, we are live. So good morning, everyone that's hopping in the live trading room, and good morning to everyone on YouTube. It's April 1st, April Fool's Days. Don't worry, I'm not going to try to fool anyone today. I don't know if Taj has got something he's holding on to later on, but I didn't come prepared, so don't expect anything from me. So with that being said, I've got my A list ready to rock and roll. On my screen here, you'll see Neo gapping up really nicely. Congratulations to everyone still holding on to their swings on Neo. I mean, 3 days ago, Santi called to swing Neo. We've been day trading Neo since the breakout from 3 days ago. And had you swung Neo, you would have grabbed some calls at like the $35 range, and we're gapping up to 42. So that's 7 points in the money. So man, I think today is a profit-taking day if you're already in it, or if you do want to hold on to it. It's not a bad entry because we bounced off on the daily pretty close off of the 200-day moving average, and we've reclaimed the 20 MA. So Neo is strong. It's bouncing today because of auto deliveries. Let me double check the number here just to quote it correctly. Neo delivered 373% year over year improvement on car deliveries. So they delivered specifically 7,257 vehicles in March and delivered 20,000 vehicles in Q1 of this year, which is a 423% year over year growth. Very good numbers. Neo is on the right trajectory, and for this story to continue to improve for the stock, as long as they keep delivering strong vehicle numbers and strong production numbers, you're going to see Neo just keep on ripping. So it's been hurt since the all-time highs because of the market pullback on stocks that had high valuations. But I mean, look, once the market gets over that temper tantrum, you could see Neo retest the all-time highs probably by the end of the year. Maybe even sooner. Who knows? So with that being said, Neo, a lot of the action's already happening in pre-market. So unless you're already in it, from a day trade perspective, I don't see an entry point at the moment. I would prefer to see a pullback, bottoming to tail bar, and then we break out of the high. But it just, on the 2-minute time frame and on the 3-minute time frame, it just broke out of a bull flag here. So you gotta let it chill. It's running too hot. So for me, I would have loved to play it, but I can't determine an entry point here unless I see a pullback, some consolidation, then breakout. So we'll keep Neo on watch. It's definitely on my A list for today. Another stock that's on my A list is Facebook. Why? Pull up the daily. It's about to break out. It's about to break out to $300. This stock, and then actually pull up a 1-year chart. 305 is within range. 305 is within range, and I think we can test the high that it hit on March 22nd, which is about $300. And if that's the case, I mean, Facebook is going to break out to all-time highs. I think it's setting up really nicely. The market's really strong. The S&P 500 is gapping up into, actually, we broke out of yesterday's highs. There we go. So the S&P 500 is on its way to 4,000. The NASDAQ gapping up really nicely with the help of Microsoft. So Microsoft and Facebook are both going to be on my A list. I'm going to watch them very closely. Microsoft, if you were trading yesterday in the afternoon, about an hour before the market closed, you would have banked with us on Microsoft because of that headline, that $22 billion contract that they've got. You can see that spike here yesterday. We did trade that really fast money within like a 5-minute time frame. So that was pretty good. I am swinging call options on Microsoft. If I see Microsoft break out of like this 238.50 range, I'll go long and just put my stops at 238. Give it a 50-cent range. If it breaks out of the 239, it's for sure running. I mean, this is really good news for Microsoft. So I do see Microsoft continuing to the upside today. And especially if the overall market, like the SPY and the NASDAQ, if you see those two push, you want to be in Microsoft and also Facebook. Another mega cap, Baidu. Why? You've got analysts pounding the table saying this is a buying opportunity on Baidu. I know Baidu is a little more expensive, along with Facebook and Microsoft, but these are kind of like my mega cap stocks that I'm going to be watching today. And Baidu, it's setting up pretty nicely. So let me see here. Let me pull up a 3-day chart. It's gapping up above the highs of the past 3 days. So if Baidu just goes on a run and breaks out of this, 224.50 range, I'm gonna go long, put my stops at 222. I'm gonna give it like a 2.5 point range on Baidu. So that's my range there. If Baidu for some reason sells off, look for the 222.50 range to short it. Right? I don't know if it'll gap fill. It may test 220, maybe bounce off the 200 MA on the 5-minute time frame. Let me see where that is. Yeah, maybe like the 219 range. Might find some support there, but that's the setup that I see here on Baidu. Another name that it's going to be on my B list, Western Digital, WDC, gapping up nicely. We've got some news that they are making some large investments to, I guess, improve their facilities and productions of chips. So there you have it. The stock is gapping up on really light volume. So be careful with it. But pull up a daily. I like it. This thing looks like it wants to break out of all-time highs, 73 bucks. Actually, let me make sure that is all-time highs. No, that's not all-time highs. But that is a 2-year high. So I'll take that. So look at WDC in case it does break out of this maybe like 71, 80, 72 range. It could possibly test 73 and plus. So that's what I like about WDC. Yesterday, Joe Biden went on national TV and he was in Pittsburgh and gave an update to the American people about his infrastructure plan and proposal to pay for it with a tax increase, right? Not going to focus on the tax increase, but I do like the infrastructure plan and specifically cater towards EVs, right? And the EV infrastructure in this country. BLNK is a company that focuses on creating EV charging stations in this country, right? So BLNK is in play. It did hit a high of about 45 bucks, pulled back to 44 now. I like that pullback because it can give us a better entry on it. I would like to see BLNK hold this range between 43 and 44. If we see a bottoming tail bar, go long, and maybe we could put ourselves at like 42.50, right? So that we can give it some room to breathe. If it just completely fails, then we can look to short it. But I do think BLNK could get a nice rally on it today. So that one is definitely going to be on my A list. QS is going to be on my A list today, gapping up pretty nicely. They made the announcement that they met some metrics so that Volkswagen can invest $100 million into the company, or I guess towards a partnership. I don't know the exact details, but there is a potential deal with Volkswagen and $100 million. And those two equations are really good. QS is gapping up. So I would prefer a little bit of a sell-off on QS. I want to see it hold like the 50 range, maybe a bottoming tail bar, go long, because it's gapping up already pretty substantially. So I would not buy it here. I would prefer a little pullback, buy it around the 51 range, and then try to bounce it, and then put my stops at like 50 bucks. Well, my charts just went bananas right now. I don't know what just happened. Okay, so that's my idea with QS. From a daily perspective, let's see where it can go. I mean, damn, if this can get some volume in it, we could see 55 to 58 on QS. But we would need some serious buying momentum on this one. All right. So upside target could potentially be 55 to 58. So that's what I see here. If we see QS just flat out just fail, if it fails the pre-market low about like 50.20, maybe we can go in for a short and bring it back down to the 200 MA on the 5-minute time frame. Is sitting at like 48 bucks. So that would be my first price target on a short side if it does sell off. So you've got my long thesis, you've got my short thesis. Just mark up your charts and we should be good to go. I've got some other names, but I don't have enough time to go into detail about them. Keep an eye on Disney, big price target upgrade from Bank of America. Keep an eye on Plug. Keep an eye on some small caps. Or actually, one other large cap is Tesla. So keep an eye on Tesla. I think Tesla is on its way to 700 bucks today. So keep an eye on that one. There's some other ones. Keep an eye on Micron. And there are some small caps like Ftft. And there was one other one. And UPC is on my radar. So I just don't have enough time. I got to give time to Taj. So Taj, take it on, brother.
Yeah, so I'll kick it off with one of the small cap names that you just mentioned, Ftft. They just got to agreement with a Bitcoin farming company, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you see anything like that related or NFT related, of course you're going to have a pop in today's market. So Ftft closed yesterday at 620, gapped up today. It's about $8 without any type of retracement. And we're getting a nice flag starting to form here, a bull flag. So what I would like to see for Ftft for a long position, I'd like to see it to break out above that 804 level, that pre-market high. We can throw our stops around 770. If you want to give it a little more room, you can throw it at 750. But the nice thing about this is that it is a former runner. Back here in early January, it went from about $1.50, $1.60, all the way up to $11 within 2 days. So when I'm looking at the daily chart, if we are able to break out of this key level 804, that pre-market high, there really is no resistance until around that $9 to $10 range. So there is room for this to run. The volume looks really, really good for pre-market.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing 400,000 shares plus every single candlestick. So I think this is going to be one of the most widely day traded stocks today. So definitely keep an eye on this. It's a cheap name. They actually do have options contracts. So if you do want to play it with options contracts, just be sure that the spreads are fairly tight. But definitely keep an eye on this. This is going to be one of my go-to names today. Another small cap name I'll be watching is CLF. That's a name we traded yesterday. Had a very, very strong day yesterday. It was actually our trade of the day. And it's setting up like it may want to continue that rally. Broke out of all-time highs yesterday, closed right near the highs. The high was $20.34. We're pretty much right at that price level right now. We're at $20.28. The pre-market high is $20.54. So I would like for it to break out of that pre-market high, $20.54. We can throw our stops at $20.20, and see if we can continue that momentum. Usually, when a stock breaks out of that all-time high that first day and closes right at the high, you're going to see a second day of follow-through. It's not extended whatsoever. The RSI is at 68, so it's creeping towards that overbought territory above 70, but it's not quite there yet. So I do think this has more room to run. So I'll definitely be watching that right out of the gates as well. Another name I'll be watching, Alex mentioned it for a second, was Micron, MU. Micron had the price target upgrade. If I remember correctly, I think it was like 150. Yeah, a few of them 150, Needham 130, Cohen 105. As you can see, you can get the overall consensus here. Everything's above $100.
Mm-hmm.
With the market catching a nice rally, you're going to be able to see a lot of these names that have had a bit of a pullback, like Micron, AMD, start to catch a nice pop, right? These stocks have been very strong over the past few years, and I think we're going to start approaching those all-time highs again. So Micron is gapping up about $4, so it is gapping up very aggressively. So for me, I would personally like to see a breakout of that pre-market high again. 93.16 is the pre-market high. You can throw your stops around 92.40, 92.50 if that does happen. But I would prefer for it to have a pullback initially and maybe look for an entry off of a bottoming tail bar or something like that. Because again, it is gapping up very, very aggressively. 4-point move. I think Micron's average daily move isn't even really 4 points. So, just kind of keep that in mind with some of these names that are gapping up aggressively. That there's a good chance that we could have some type of retracement, right? NEO's in the same ballpark, gapping up about 3 points. So, let's just be sure not to chase a lot of these names. Another name I'll be watching, Alex again brought it up a little bit, was Tesla. So although I don't trade Tesla, I know a lot of you like to trade Tesla, and it is flagging up here very, very nicely. It's another stock that is gapping up aggressively. It's gapping up 20 points. So, keep that in mind. Yesterday, the range, just to put it in perspective, was 30 points. Tesla had a range of about 31 points yesterday. We're gapping up 20 points already. However, it is bull flagging up here. So if it is able to break out of 688.60, we could look for a long. You will have to throw your stops around 686. So you're looking at about a 2 to 3 point risk, which, for Tesla, honestly, is not that bad of a risk, all things considered. So, keep an eye on that, because there really is no resistance on Tesla until $700. $699.62 is the exact price that I see. And then after that, you can see Tesla shoot up to around 713, 714 if it could break out of that. So if you enjoy trading Tesla, definitely keep a close eye on it, because I think it's going to continue to rally a lot with these other EV names.
Yeah.
And with that being said, some other names to watch, keep an eye on the S&P. S&P is right at its all-time highs. I believe it broke it during the pre-market session. 398.28. Earlier it was 398.12. So we did break above that. So if the SPYs break out of that high again, 398.28, we could look for a long. Throw our stops around 397.90. And, let's see if this is the real break, right? We were playing the S&P into the all-time highs, about a month ago. And it would just slowly move up, then have a pullback, slowly move up, have a pullback. Perhaps this time is the real break, right? So definitely, if you can, get your hand on some SPY calls if we're able to break out of those highs, because this could be the chance that it actually has to run. Also, keep an eye on the Qs. Qs have been recovering very, very nicely here. Formed a nice base down here between the 310 to about 320 range. We are starting to break out of the upper portion of this range. Remember that key level from a few weeks ago and about a month ago was that 324.33. We were trying to play some calls on the breakout here on the 16th. However, it completely failed that level. So I think today there's a good possibility that we could test that level again. So if the Qs start to break out above 323, we could go long. Throw our stops around 322.60, 322.70, and see if we can ride up to 324. If we do, obviously take some of your profits off the board, and keep a portion on to see if we can break out of that high. Other than that, I think there was one more name. Oh, of course, Apple. Got to keep an eye on Apple with the Qs gapping up, with the SPYs gapping up, the overall market kind of gapping up here. Apple is gapping up as well. It's gapping up above yesterday's high, and I think Apple is setting up for a nice recovery as well. It's been trading under its daily 20-period moving average for the past, 2 months now. And this is the first day that we're not only closing above the daily 20 MA, which was yesterday, but now we're actually gapping above that level. So there's a very good chance we could start having a reversal start to form here on Apple, as long as price holds today. So the way I see it, I would like to see Apple break out of that 123.80. We could go long. There are stops around 123.50, 123.40, and see if we can really start to break out here. There are going to be a lot of names you can watch if the market's strong today. Apple, Facebook, Tesla, a lot of the tech names, Micron. So definitely get your hands on some of those. If you want to play the overall market, look at the S&P. S&P is going into all-time highs. Anytime you have a formidable name going into an all-time highs, get your hands dirty with it because there's no telling where it could go, right? It could be in for a monster day, or it could be a fake out, right? But nonetheless, you're giving yourself that opportunity to really capitalize on that momentum. But other than that, that's pretty much it for my watch list. The main names I'll be watching: Ftft, Neo, CLF, and then BLNK as well. There's going to be a lot of the big names that I'm watching.
Yeah. My A list is going to be Micron, BLNK. FTFT actually just broke out right now. So I am long FTFT and pre-market. Another name I'm going to keep an eye on, Neo, and Tesla and Microsoft. Those are going to be like my top 6 I'm going to look at. Everything else is going to be a B list for me. So, well, with that being said, thanks for tuning in, guys. Tomorrow the market is closed, so it's a long weekend. So for everyone on YouTube, we'll see you all on Monday. Have a great weekend.